All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:31. It is February 24th. I hope everyone's feeling well, safe and sound. Nice little snow day if you're in the Northeast. Maybe you had a shovel. Conrad said he had a shovel for 4 hours. Anyway, with that being said, here we are. It is Tuesday, and definitely an interesting tape. We're still in this SPY range, still in this Q range, as software is making lower lows. Some sectors are getting beat up as the AI disruptive narrative continues. So it feels like a lot of bent and broken names out there, while the indices are still intact as we wait for Nvidia tomorrow. Lots of range trades, lots of ways to just, pretty tactical, because anyone who's trying to pick bottoms or put on all these swing longs, they're definitely feeling a little bit. So with that said, don't push it, right? Yesterday we were talking. I was talking to him. I came in yesterday after I couldn't get in the morning, so I apologize. There was no 20 and 520 for the Red Dog Mindset or the 630 Club for Red Dog Mindset because I couldn't get in. I almost got out of my driveway, but the roads and the driveway here or the parking lot here wasn't paved. So I'm like, you know what? We'll just do things from the house. So I came in around 2:30, got to do stocks on spaces at 3 o'clock with the crew, got to do the recap, talk to the alpha team, and definitely frustration's a little high. And the mantra really is be safe, be profitable, and sane. Actually, safe and sane, safe and sane. Say those together, safe and sane. If you stay safe and sane, you could be a little profitable. And then when the time is right and things are moving better, you'll be able to, push the keys and make some money and put some size on. Because for right now, that's not been the way to go. If you look here, if you remember yesterday in the morning, I posted some levels. I'm like, if we don't hold 686 after closing strong on Friday, chances are we could see 680 back to the low end of the range. So, basically, we didn't hold 686 and it went down to the low end of the range. So now for today, futures are up like 12 handles. SPYs are at 683.50. So it's almost like the opposite. Like if you're short, you would probably you'd probably want them to reject price halfway into this candle. So it kind of makes a little bit of an H sell setup, to stay down there. If it takes out 686, all of a sudden, one candle negates another, and that's tough trading. Most of the trading that we've had has been like really, you have to buy them at the low end of the range, and once they look good, you have to sell them, and God forbid you add to anything that's green, especially if you're long. So anyway, so that's what the daily chart looks like. And then you go to the weekly chart, which I posted over the weekend, where we're still in this range. The weekly chart is still just hovering above, going sideways, while a lot of these sectors are or especially tech is correcting. So the question is this going to hold 675, or, is there going to be more news? Like today, there's an event at 9:30 about how, AI might, come out with some kind of enterprise use. So far they're disrupting software, some areas of finance, and now all of a sudden maybe enterprise and cloud. If that's the case, I would think 675 breaks, and we're not even at a 5% correction. 662 is a 5% correction, and here would be 6.8. So you just got to be just on your feet, on your toes. Doesn't have to happen. Sometimes you have a time consolidation, which is, what's been going on here. This is a time consolidation. It just, again, if you're pressing here, you're losing money. If you're pressing here for upside, you're losing money. So it's just been a range type of trade. And for today, we'll see what end of the range does it. Do we open up and get rejected here? It should be half of the candle, because yesterday we couldn't hold half the candle, or not. Look at the Qs, which have been weaker. Qs also are still in the range. Yesterday, I'm like, can we hold 605? If not, we could see 600, and we saw 599. So question is, does it take back, just say 604 half, or get rejected there to stay in the bottom end of that quadrant to give you, some thoughts on how to navigate. So this is how I just keep going about the day, trying to think of, what needs to happen for something else to happen. If that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Same way a lot of people have been calling for the bottom in software for weeks and weeks and weeks. We just had a little bit of a floor. I remember with this, I made money. I bought options into here just to try it. Had a bounce to the 8-day, got out of it, and then I've just watched since. And then all of a sudden, you have a bear flag. You're below the 8-day moving average, and there's no reason to be catching a falling knife there. And then it broke 79.27 and took another leg lower. Yesterday, guys got mad at me because I posted Microsoft. I'm like, guys, there's a lot to learn from this, chart of Microsoft. And if you are a seasoned veteran, which a lot of people who watch us are, or you want to learn technicals, you look back and it's like so many things that I've taught over 20 years could have kept you from losing your shirt in Microsoft. Why? Hey, first things first, you have a double top, 555, 553, double top. Then you had a gap that never got filled, came in. First time we held support, rallied into the moving averages, rejected. Then you broke support, came back to support, rejected into resistance. Then you had a gap post earnings. So post earnings, they never filled this gap. So that shows you commitment to that downside. Nobody thought Microsoft was on sale. Otherwise, they would have bought it post gap because it was a lot lower to fill that gap. Then again, put a small low in like the IGV did, rejected at the 8-day, and then lost 392. And then that's basically, how you got down to where we were yesterday. So now the question is, does it stay below 392 and continue? But lots of ways to be out of the way. And if you didn't do it, you did things wrong, learn from it. It's not like, remember when Microsoft was above the 821 day? What a nice rally. And look at this gap. Gap up never got filled to the downside. So this gap up was the dictated price, same way this one did. So gaps matter, moving averages matter, support, resistance, flip, and you can learn how to navigate these things. But anyway, that was then, this is now. Now it's got to stay below 392. Mega cap tech is not doing anything special. Every name is just different. I am in Apple. Apple kind of looks better than others. I got stopped out at 271 and then went back into it on Friday at 260 and had a push yesterday. We'll see, if it continues to hold up. Google's been a tiny bit better, tiny bit. Gave you a move from the 100-day to 319 and then failed to hold 316 and came in. Now see maybe if it goes inside here a little bit to rebuild. So again, this broke, and if you sold the 8-day, you were able to buy the 100-day. That's how you have to trade ranges, and this has been just a kind of like a range-bound mess, to be honest. Tesla's been junk. It still is junk. I lost a little bit of money in it yesterday. Looks like if this doesn't hold 394, okay, then the 200-day, next time it breaks, it's held the 200-day twice. If it doesn't hold the 200-day next time, chances are, you're going to be seeing lower prices. You might see 369, you might see 357. Bottom line is, first time it came to the 200-day, you had to move back into resistance, and now here it is again. Can it hold it? I don't know. I just be careful at that 394. Some people like, well, what about Nvidia? Okay, Nvidia's got numbers coming out on Wednesday. 194 has been resistance. I did buy some 195 calls last week cheaper for earnings Wednesday, just in case. Nvidia is at the exact same spot it was last quarter, the exact same spot 5 quarters ago. So if I think it's solid and the guidance is good and they include China, maybe there's a chance, it could see above 195, and then you have like 199, and then you have 204 and then 212. And no one thinks Nvidia matters anymore because every other time it's come out with great reports, they've sold it. So I bought a little options just to have on. They cost me $3.50. I actually sold a third yesterday at 510 because it gave you a nice move yesterday. So I took a third off, and now we'll see if it hovers here, and we'll see how it responds after Wednesday into Thursday. So anyway, there are a lot of people coming in that want to say good morning. Good morning, Blair. XLE's been great. That's true. Microsoft, we'll see what kind of broken bounce it has. You want me to go over Ulta? ULTA. I haven't seen that stock in a long time. I guess you could say it's better than most. It's above the moving averages. What's it doing this morning? It is, it's up 5. So it must have come out with numbers or something. Actually, no, there's no volume there. It's nothing great. Better than some other things. You had a little red dog reversal here. It's above this trend line. It's got to stay above that. Otherwise, that's in trouble. So Nvidia appears to be investing 30 billion into OpenAI, not the 100 billion. Okay, announced last year, 30 billion that Nvidia is investing in OpenAI. All right. Anyway, XLE, that's been a great trend. A lot of people have made a lot of money here this year. You haven't made money in the last decade, but this year it finally triggered. We we've been played it just like everybody else. Also, if you use the 8 and 21 day, it triggered above 45, went above 47, went above 49, and it's had a nice move. So again, if you went there and if you're in names like Chevron and Exxon and whatnot, you're making good money. You haven't, this is different, right? This is above the 8 day, above the 21 day. That's energy, right? Not like software, which is below. So if you are a technical trader, look at this is below the 8 day all the way down. So that's an active sequence to the downside. Well, this has been an active sequence to the upside. So you don't have to be a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist. You just know your moving averages. You're above the 8 and 21 day, try and be long, try and use it as a swing. Below it, be careful. Test levels, maybe, if that. Anyway, let's see what else. NBIS, it was double upgrade yesterday. Kind of held where it had to. These names are just hard, So yes, if you want to be long NBIS and you're active, you could be long verse 95.30. Okay, this is 93, so up your stop to 95.30. That would be that, and then at some point maybe it tries to take this back out. But this is better than other things. NBIS seems better than other things. Oracle's been an absolute disaster. Okay, just like Microsoft, just like CRM. Oracle broke this 152. Right, it looked a little bit better. You had your low, just like everything else. It had a broken bounce into the moving averages and then broke 152. And now, the one thing I'll say with Oracle is Oracle, okay, made a higher low. So Oracle is a tiny bit stronger than Microsoft. Why? Because look, Microsoft made lower lows, right? Lower lows. Oracle did not. So if Microsoft tries to bounce back up, maybe Oracle acts a little bit better. That's like a little bit. So what's Oracle doing this morning? Oracle is ORCL. It's not even up. It's down 76 cents. It's funny when you hear like analysts on TV talk about how awesome Oracle has been this, in the past year. It had one gap up, okay, and then it's been rolling down since. So unless you were long into that and sold, it's been cut in half. That's Oracle. So anyway, there have been like a very few names that act really, really well, like SanDisk, right? SanDisk has been, we had a buy on this at 284. It's been above the 8 day the entire time to 725. Still acts very well. So SanDisk is a chosen one. Hopefully, no big news comes out on memory where they say they're going to slow down their spending and you happen to be long it and it gets killed. We don't want that to happen. But it does seem like, this is on its way to take out 725. Hopefully, you're not fighting this short. It's above the 8 day, 4 days up. You could be making good money here. This group, then you have Micron. Micron looks like it's ready to take out 438, 455. So Micron looks really good. So Micron looks good. SanDisk has been good. Western Digital, okay. Still lagging a little bit. You can put this here now, but still above the 8 day, the 21 day. So the question is though, like, can this group continue to do it by itself? It's hard to, GLW, yes, that has been in fuego. So if you've been in GLW, SanDisk, Western Digital, Seagate, you're killing it. Congratulations. I've listed these charts, 50 times, so that's cool. Dash has been disaster. Thank goodness we know technicals, because 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, Dash was like, I was talking about it. It's dashing, was above the 8 and 21 day. Talked about how it can get to 285. And then I think after it did its double top at 285, I've tried it like 3 times. Goes to show you, stocks go through cycles. You need to know your technicals. Like, look at Dash. Wow. This was your double top up here. Okay. And then really, if you didn't see that, once it got below the moving averages, this 250, it was like the stock was done, and then it came in, looked like it was trying to rebuild, broke again here, and it's been just a disaster since. So, to me, it's just, you got to move on. It was awesome when it came on the radar and we were talking about it here, right? The big cup and handle, 144 big buy, said it would get back to 225, 257. Well, it went above it. And look what it did. It did a false breakout. Tried to get above. Did it stay above? No. And then now I guess you could say, hey, this is a spot if you feel like you have a time frame to buy it and probably not be right, if it's just longer term, right? If it's a great trade, it's a great trade. If it's not a good trade, it turns into a long-term investment. But I guess you could say this is a spot for Dash. But again, look at the difference, in the chart to engage it. Iron's up a little bit. Iron is tough. I guess you could say, hey, it's still in here, just hard. I know I had a lot of iron here, and then all of a sudden, it had a bearish engulfing candle, kind of got me out, and I didn't get back into it yesterday. What's it doing this morning? Let's take a look. Iron it's down 55 cents, so it's not up. It's just, it's hanging in there. So I don't know. You could be long this verse, just say 30, 39-ish. But if this were to break, chances are it could go. I would like this to act better. I am not in it right now. I was in a lot of it, and that candle on Friday hurt. But anyway, ASTS also kind of, I was in it also, and then that candle looked like it got rejected. The 8-day was more of a bear flag, and then yesterday it acted decent. But it's hard to be buying into a candle like that. And now it's up 43 cents, still doing a whole lot of nothing. This is not very interesting, right? This is when its stock is great and interesting. Higher lows, higher highs. Then this did a red dog reversal up here. Now it's trying to rebuild. When things are rebuilding, you never know what the rebuild stage is going to be like. That's why you have to be careful. You got to take trades. For those of you who have subscribed to Red Dog Mindset, and you're watching it because I'm posting it on demand until Twitter's fixed, I will always post this link to Red Dog Mindset subscribers because you guys are friends and family. What you should do is do the 20 to 520 into the 630 club. That's how you feel good. That's how you'll get your routine going. That's how you can control your day. You can win the morning to win the day. But anyway, so make sure to continue to subscribe if you want to be grandfathered into this. Anyway, yes, IBM was a disaster. But IBM was a disaster before yesterday, right? IBM looked okay. I remember guys were so excited on this day, and then that day happened. Most got stopped out. Most guys in my active community got stopped out on this day and was like, oh my God, I can't believe how much money you just lost. Well, if you didn't get stopped out at 302, don't you think you would have lost a shitload more money down to 225? So stops can help, and they hurt. Stops hurt when it happens, but help when you look back later and say, this is why I got stopped out, because that could have happened after when it broke the the moving averages. It came in, retested, or this would have been a stop. And now I don't even know. I just think it's going to be a battleground. You do have some big support here. Maybe there's a red dog reversal, 220.72. Some people are saying that it's old news that but IBM didn't say that yesterday. And if you got stopped out yesterday, if it was an old news, the computers didn't care. What's IBM doing this morning? IBM is up 50 cents. Oh my goodness! You caught a falling knife to buy for it to be up 50 cents today. Anyway, Twitter is definitely a mess for the 630 club. That is true. So lately what I've been doing is I've been doing the 630 club, then taking the link and posting it. So you can't watch it live at 630. You can watch it at 6:55. I'm just trying to, figure it out like everybody else. But again, this is, again, people are like, well, could you have seen an IBM? Yeah, right here, this candle right here said this is no longer technically special, right? That shouldn't have happened if it was going to hold here and continue. Instead, it wound up being an active sequence to the downside. Now we need to see what's next. So keep your head up for for 9:30. There's supposed to be some kind of event, about enterprise. Scott, when does it become time to take the short positions in charts like IBM? Yeah, you could have. There are people who definitely did that. For me, I know for my personality, I'm not the best short. So I just get out of the way. When names break day in 21 day, instead of getting out and then going from long to flipping short, I'll just get out of the way. Because sometimes it's back and forth, and you lose long, lose short, lose long, lose short, and you become a little bit of a top spinning. So for me, I'll get out of the way. I'll have less risk, and I'll wait for better, more constructive technical times to have 20 positions on and make a ton of money. Like today, you know what? I am short some after yesterday's action. Okay, I bought just in case, Nvidia doesn't deliver into this. There's a little rally in the afternoon. I bought the 677 puts just in case this wants to break the range to go lower. So I did put on some puts. I would, put on a certain amount of puts just in case we go lower because, this looks like it's below the moving averages. I've done that a bunch of times and lost. You could do that with names also. State of the Union, Trump, 9 p.m. this tonight. We'll see. Walmart thoughts. Walmart's been trading better than others, I guess you could say, right? Came in, just held above the 50-day. It's really not for me, but, it's been a decent trending stock if you're in Walmart. What's Walmart doing this morning? It's up 50 cents. Definitely, Walmart's been better than Amazon. So, and there have been times when Amazon's better than Walmart, so it looks okay, if that's what you want to do. Did you miss the ASTS chat? Not really. I'm just saying ASTS has been hard. It goes through its nice spurts when it pays you a lot of money and then has a down cycle. Then, basically put a top in a 124. It's been for sale since. So it's trying. This low here was what? 77.90. So if you're in it, I'd rather see you be long versus 77.90 than try and add into strength. Adding it to strength in any of these names have just not really worked. Yes, HIMS is horrible. But that's another good lesson. I like to talk about lessons because lessons are great to learn from. So next time you do it better. My entire community, we were so excited. I made like right here, this candle. Remember this candle in HIMS? This was on October 15th. It looked like it was going to break out. I had options. I had stock. Then all of a sudden that happened. I'm like, what the hell is that? I think I got out of half my stock. And then that happened. I'm like, oh my God, I just lost so much money, but I have to get out. This 2-day candle should not have happened to engulf a month. And guess what? Wasn't that a great spot to get out at 52 versus down here at 15? So although this looked awesome right here, guess what happened? Not so awesome into those 2 candles. So you have to react. You have to get out of the way when the trade changes. The trade changed right there, and it's been a disaster since. So if you've been buying it the whole way down because you like this for some reason, even though the CEO is a scummy guy, excuse my French, he is, you deserve to get your ass kicked. I'm sorry, and I don't want anyone to get their ass kicked. You broke every rule in the book. Learn from it. Don't do it again, because if you keep doing that, there's no shot you'll ever be watching the 630 Club again. You'll be out of business. But anyway, this spot right here was no fun. No fun for anybody, right? This is like, okay, not so bad, but this candle was like, oh my God, just took out this entire range, run like hell. And then that happened. Anyway, there's always a time and place. There's always a lot to learn. You could always grow and evolve. If you don't do it, you're going to be left behind. As of right now, we'll see what goes on. State of the Union tonight. You have Nvidia tomorrow. The range is trying to hold up. The action is very, very difficult. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Very difficult. If you're trying to catch a falling knife in software, you're getting hurt. If you're trying to play ranges and you add things the wrong way in other things, you're getting hurt. So what does that mean? Do a little bit less. And if you're not getting hurt and you're making a ton of money in SanDisk and MU and GLW, then congratulations. You're really, in the right place. And hopefully, you don't go back to the well one too many times, just in case something changes there. So with that being said, have a great day. 6:55. I got to do 40 charts with the Alpha team, hang out with my crew. Missed them yesterday morning with the storm, and see how today goes. Let's stack some days, make the right decision at the right time, get your head on straight, and just make sure, you're safe, you're sane and profitable. So when things act better and get more continuity, you're not a shell of yourself and you'll be able to make some money. I'll see you guys later.